morning, afternoon, good evening, good whatever time it currently is. Welcome back to Mr. Lentz's Corner for Chapter 2 of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. In this chapter, there are two big things that I really want to talk to you about, and it's going to be important for the rest of the story. So make sure you pay attention, and as always, your password for your exam will be hidden somewhere in this video. I will tell you that right now, the capital or the first letter is a capital B. B as in boy. So the first thing that I want to call attention to is this is really our first chance to meet Harry Potter, the actual main character of the book, because his name is in the title. It's a good way to tell if it's main character or not. All right. So in this chapter, we see Harry Potter, and we see how he is being treated by the Dursleys. And to me, even when I read this book when it came out in 1998, I believe, I was, 11. I was Harry Potter's age. I didn't read it until I was 13. Sorry. Anyways, I was always surprised at how, one, horribly the Dursleys treated Harry, and two, that people were okay with it. Granted, I'm sure they didn't go out and necessarily advertise how poorly they treated this kid. They made him sleep under the stairs, etc. But like Dudley, it's amazing how, I don't want to say corrupt, but how much Dudley had already been influenced by his parents, because he had friends at school that he knows how kids should be expected to be treated. He knows how he was treated, yet he didn't seem to have a problem with how Harry was treated. In fact, he relished in it and he added to it. And I just, it's like, why is Harry Potter still in that house? Like, why isn't he been reported? Why didn't the teachers report, child protection services or something like that? Why is he being just so mistreated? And then it goes back to chapter 1 where Dumbledore's like, this is the best place for him. And I'm like, best place for him? Years of neglect and mistreatment. Like, something's not right here. So that just always stood out to me as wrong. And, I've always been a big guy myself, and Harry's described as a small guy. But like, I couldn't imagine being forced to sleep under the stairs. There's not a lot of room under the stairs. It would be very cramped. And then not only forced to sleep under it, but he gets locked in there as a punishment. And the way that Mr. Dursley talks about it at the end of the chapter, any funny business, and I'll lock it. Like, it's happened before. This poor kid's been locked up before, and he's forced to sneak out to get food, which means they're not feeding him food. The mistreatment is so horrible, and it blows my mind. And she's really wanting, or the author, J.K. Rowling, is really wanting us, once again, she's building on this difference between the Muggle world, the normal world, and the wizarding world. And the Muggle world's not a good place to be. It just is not. So I don't know. It's just that section has always felt really wrong to me. And my camera is spazzing out. I apologize. I don't know. But it's done for a reason. It's not just so she can say how bad everything is. Like, she's purposely writing this character, this the setting, because she's building up to where we're going. And we'll see how she describes living with the Dursleys to how she's living, how living at school is. And there's a huge difference. And it's intentional. The second thing that I wanted to talk about, and at this point, Harry Potter has been out for 22 years. So people know he's a wizard at this point. So we are all reading this book from the perspective that we already have some background knowledge. Harry Potter is a wizard. But for a second, pretend that you don't know that, right? And it's hard to do. But there are so many small little things that she has done throughout this chapter, that she does throughout the entire book and in the entire series, where she's hinting that there's something more to Harry than meets the eye. when he jumps and he, instead of jumping over some trash cans, jumps up onto the roof. How weird things always seem to happen. She's dropping little nuggets of clues along the way that's going to ultimately get us to think there's something different about Harry. And then when we get to that chapter here in two chapters, we're like, he's a wizard. All of this now makes sense. And she is notorious for dropping little nuggets like that and not addressing them again until chapters away, or in many cases, and this is what's kind of fascinating me with the series and all, books away. There are things that she talks about in that first chapter that we just read. I said is one of the top 10 important chapters. There's things that are being dropped in this chapter that affect the end game, that affect book 7. Same thing happens with book 2. Book 2, like, oh yeah, beginning of the series, whatever. It plays a direct impact in book 6 and book 7. It blows my mind how she structured her story elements along the way, that she's constantly foreshadowing, but she's foreshadowing in a way that we don't recognize that we are being led along this path. And fair warning, she does this with making us think the right thing and making us think the wrong thing repeatedly. She's an expert in manipulation in terms of books and getting her readers to think what she wants them to, and either supporting that and saying, here you go, you're right, or pulling the carpet out from underneath you and completely throwing you for a loop. She's a good writer. She's a good writer, and that's something that if we're trying to write, we can start dropping little nuggets of wisdom and really build this foreshadowing element up in our own writing as well. I told you that the rest of the clue, I told you the first letter of the clue. The rest of the clue is Brazil. So your password for the exam is Brazil, capital B, Brazil. Use this to take your test. Now, I've gone easy on you the first 2 chapters. Ooh, sorry. I've gone easy on you the first 2 chapters. The passwords aren't always going to be at the end of the video. I know what you're thinking. Oh, I can just jump to the end of the video, ignore Mr. Lentz, get the password, go take the test. I'm smarter than that. They're going to be all over the place. But this is chapter 2, so we're getting you into it. I hope you learned something. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know. Send me a message. Leave me a comment. Chew me out on the link that I've got somewhere where it's like, hey, I don't agree with you. Or, hey, that's a good idea. You're kind of smart. Let me know. Until then, chapter 3 is coming up. Have a good one.